Yes. Well, if you listen to the majority of the mainstream corporate liberal media, they will tell you that Joe Biden and the Democrats were the big winners of the midterm elections, even though it looks like they're probably going to lose the majority in the House and probably the Senate too, possibly the Senate too, but still there's because it was expected to be a red wave, Rev. That's what we were saying.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, see, like here's the thing, right? And again, as somebody on the left, I always say the worst thing that happened to the left is that the media is liberal, okay? And because it gives us a distorted view of reality, okay?
Right.
This is not reality, okay? This the way the media portrays it is that, oh my God, Joe Biden and the Democrats had the greatest day of all time. That's not exactly true, okay? Because like what we talked about when it happened, when the Roe v. Wade thing happened, the Dobbs decision that overturned Roe v. Wade in, I think it was May, happened, and we said, oh, the Republicans are in trouble. Because it looked like at the beginning of the year before that Joe Biden and the Democrats were just trying to give this election away. It was like, I was sitting there going, man, this is going to be awful for them. 2022 is going to be awful for the Democrats. And then when the Dobbs decision happened, I was like, oh, this is why they weren't doing anything. Because they knew that Roe was going to be overturned, and that was going to inspire an avalanche of support, especially from young people and young women and stuff like that. So at this point, the Democrats were more than favored to go in there and completely clean the Republicans' clock. That's why if you remember, Rev, when Dobbs happened, you didn't see too many right-wing politicians and personalities overtly celebrating it. Because you would think that after 50 years of trying to overturn Roe v. Wade, they'd be happy about this. And they'd be celebrating and doing the Charleston on Fox News.
Wait a minute. Trying to overturn it?
What, Roe v. Wade?
So funny.
Well, okay, allegedly trying. I'm so glad you said that because we're gonna get into that about these because the Republicans the real Republican leadership didn't want to overturn Roe v. Wade.
No.
Because they knew that stuff like this would happen. So the Democrats were happy that this happened, and they were like up big in polls and stuff. People were like, oh well, now this changes everything, and people say all these young women are gonna come out, and the Democrats are gonna do really well. Joe Biden spent the entire summer and fall, I want to say, peeing away the lead that they had, the goodwill that they had after Dobbs, to the point where it looks like now the Republicans are still going to take the House. Well, they are definitely probably going to take the House. It's like 60% likely they're going to take the House. And they probably will take the Senate by one or to be a tie or something. They could have, if they had just capitalized on the momentum they had from overturning Dobbs, really been the one incumbent party to keep their majorities in the House and Senate since George W. Bush in the rally around the flag elections of 2002 after 9/11, and everybody decided that they wanted to go to war and whatever. But instead of saying the Democrats should have done way better than they did, the media is saying, well, this is the greatest thing ever. Just because we didn't get blown out. Yeah. Could you imagine a sports team saying having this is the greatest thing ever. We're not getting blown out.
Well, that did happen in the football game last Sunday, but that's a whole nother story.
Well, you know what?
It is weird though, isn't it? When you can, in a sense, lose and smile.
Yep.
Because what you really thought was going to happen, you got a stern talking to, but you didn't get a belt taken to your backside. That's a win.
Right.
See?
Right.
You got a warning, but you didn't get a big old $1,000 ticket. That's a win.
Exactly.
And in the case of the Democrats, they didn't get handed minority status in the midterm elections. It's fun. It's just like you played Jennifer Ruth Green's concession speech, and I looked at the Northwest Indiana Times report on that race, and they said Mervan cruises to victory.
And I remember I wrote it down like, oh, are you joking? Are you joking? But go ahead, Rev.
But it's fine. I said is it he cruises a victory or he hangs on to his seat?
Yeah, but I think one of the headlines was romps.
Yeah, romps to victory.
And I'm sitting there going, the dude only won by 5.5 points
in first district.
In first district. And because I predicted he would get 58% of the vote.
Yeah.
He would at least come away with a comfortable double-digit victory, because I thought even though she'll be more competitive than any Republican has been in a long time, still
it's first district.
It's still first district, and I was here on election night with Miss McCready. Who else was here? Miss McCready, Dina Holland Neal, and Tommy Williams. We were all here, and we were getting phone calls from Ron Matlock and people who were at the districts, and they were telling us like, oh man, she's, in this district, it's like 235 to 9 or something, the votes for Frank J. Mervan. So I'm thinking, man, she's going to get blown out because he's going to run up huge margins here in the city of Gary.
Right.
And this is, like I said, probably the most important city in this first district. So I'm thinking like, yeah, she's going to get blown out with these type of margins. And no, it was close.
Here's the thing that struck me about it. The last 2 weeks of the election, and it got to me so much, I quit looking at television. I mean, regular.
That's the best thing to do.
Regular commercial television. Because it was like every 5 minutes I saw another ad about Jennifer Ruth Green, how she wanted all 10-year-old girls to be pregnant. And she wanted all these women to die on the, in obstetrics ward, anything rather than have an abortion. And I'm like, wait a minute, I heard this woman when Natalie interviewed her, and she expressly said she was opposed to abortions after 15 weeks, except for life of the mother, rape and incest. Just the standard position, basically, of, according to most polls, what most Americans seem to be fairly comfortable with. Now, but if you hear for almost a solid month that this person wants to take away your rights.
Yeah.
I said to Lanita, oh gosh, I think 2 days before the election, I said the only way Jennifer Ruth Green wins is if Gary continues its historic pattern of not going to vote. If you remember last primary election, it was like 13%
yeah, it was very
of the voting public
really
actually
low.
Went out. Well, 36% went.
Yeah.
This time. That's over double.
Yeah.
Over double.
Yeah. That's pretty shocking. That was shocking for me too, because I always vote, but most of the time other people don't. But
yeah. So I knew, the way they were hammering this whole abortion thing, and here's the other side of it. The GOP talked about everything but that. It's like they said, if we just don't say a mumbling word about this Dobbs thing, if we just pretend it never happened, maybe people will just won't notice it, and we'll get to have our little red wave. Well, no, not when the other side is calling you child killers and women killers, and you want to enslave everybody. If they're saying that about you, you can't ignore it.
Yeah, but see, like we said earlier, they did not really want this to happen.
No.
They did not want this to happen. But see, here's the thing. This is the phenomenon about Donald Trump. Trump let a lot of, I want to say Luddites, but he let a lot of true believers into the party, like people who actually bought this nonsense that the mainstream of the Republican Party was selling. They actually believed that they wanted to overturn Roe v. Wade. And so when Trump invited these people in, a lot of the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Lauren Boeberts, and when Trump let these people in, then the real party, the Mitch McConnells and the Kevin McCarthys, they have to somewhat like respond. They, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And once Trump starts nominating all these hardcore pro-life justices on the Supreme Court, all the bases looking at him like, isn't this what you guys have been wanting all these years? And they like, oh yeah, this is exactly what we wanted. They didn't want this.
No.
Just like the Democrats have never wanted, like the Democrats did not want to win big in this election because they didn't want to have to codify Roe v. Wade in the law. because they've been promising it. Clinton promised it. Obama promised it. Biden promised it. They don't want to do that either. The status quo favors both. The status quo of Roe v. Wade being there, but always being just out of touch for the Republicans. It was the best thing for both parties.
I hate to sound cynical, but it's kind of like, alrighty, alcohol, guns, even marijuana, anything that you take this sword of government and say you can't have in America, even if people hardly mess with the stuff. I mean, how many people in a year, and you know, I at one point I even thought about researching this, just what percentage of the American population deals with Planned Parenthood in terms of abortion in a year.
Right.
And I'd be willing to bet that percentage is small. What percentage of people in this country are regular marijuana smokers? I'm pretty sure we're not over the halfway point. But the moment you frame something like, you know, the government is depriving you of something, you just stir up in the average ordinary person the thing that the law always does. The law excites you to break it. In theological terms, we'd say the law reveals sin.
Yeah.
It just makes you want to do the thing that says you shall not do.
Right. And Jennifer Ruth Green, I'm still very surprised. Like I said, I figured she'd get about 42% at the most, 43%. I just looked up right now. Peter Visklosky, when he had this district, he never got under 56%. That was the lowest he got. And so Mervan walking away with 53%, like, I got no choice but to believe that if it was not for this historic Dobbs decision that was going to energize young people, especially young women, that combined with the idea that Jennifer Ruth Green, she's from California. She's not from here.
Right.
Okay, she grew up in Long Beach, California. So she's not a regional person.
Right.
So, like, you know, as impressive as she is speaking, like I said, I've met her, I think twice being here at WLTH, once or twice here at WLTH. Every time she's like I said, she's a very impressive person. I think she will be successful. Whatever it is she does, she may not be the first district congressperson or whatever, but she will definitely do something big.
You know what? I remember thinking election evening as I was following it, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
You know, she should have run for something local. I mean, I think she lives in Valpo.
Yeah, either Valpo or Cherville, one of those.
She should have ran for something in that area.
Yeah.
Established her bona fides.
Yeah.
And then worked her way up. Because you're right. She's from Long Beach. Now, look, Lanita's from Long Beach. I got nothing but love from Long Beach.
Snoop Dogg,
there you
LBC.
Go. Nothing but love for the LBC. But for the average Gary voter, you got on the one hand a guy who, let's be honest, everything that he said in his campaigns about he brought this and he brought that, you could have been a dead man and you would have brought that money here. Yeah. The federal government was in a mind to spend money because we had COVID virus.
Yeah, the pandemic.
Pandemic just opened up money. Heck, even the red states got money.
Yeah.
You know, they were protesting against it and they got money. So it was like Oprah with a car. But that was, in fact, I tell you, next year, you're going to see executive branch at local and at state level running on their pandemic record. You saw it this election.
Oh, yeah. Well, we can look forward to all of that because there's going to be a lot of distorted records out there. But what I came away with that race is I said, look, man, so if she got this close being an outsider with the historic Dobbs decision that made people scared, women especially, young people to come out and vote, that means first district is in play. If she was just a boring white dude from Maryville or something, or from Hammond or something, She could have actually. I mean, we might be talking about for the first time in 90 years, a Republican having this district. Like I said, Peter Visclosky never got below 56%, and in his last few elections, it wasn't even close. 2018, 65%. In 2016, 82%. 61%, 67%, 59%, 71%, 70%. This man didn't face a solid challenge since 1994.
It's almost like the people that went to the polls were suffering from two ailments: abortomania and Trump phobia.
Yep.
And so two things happened. The Democrats, one, they even admitted they were doing it in Illinois. Pritzker put a lot of money into ensuring that his opponent won the primary. The press was reporting it. I mean, they weren't hiding it or anything. We are putting money to make sure that the Trumpiest GOP person wins the primaries.
Yep. Oh, I definitely want to talk about that. Let's go to this break really quick because I want to talk about Donald Trump and his people. All right, folks, please give us a call. Talk about the midterm elections, 219-885-1371. That number again, 219-885-1371.